about the shops, the interior to the exterior. The current entry to California Adventure did not have what I would call a transparent retail envelope. You won't, typically you go into walking along the street, you're going to be able to see through the merchandise displays into the shop. We didn't have that, so we're bringing all that back. We've got a lot of great merchandise displays, but also we have a lot of transparency into the shop. So there is a connection from the exterior of the buildings to the interiors. This slide here is just showing a little bit about what we're doing with the detail. We've got the tile factory up local. There's a lot of history to it. They're building mostly all of our decorative tiles, are making them all. And we have one interior designer, Terry, the tile queen. She is...
We have a lot of queens that imagine. Oh, and those queens.
I got it on video.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, the tile expert. Okay, she has taken upon herself as a mission to organize and really track all of the decorative tile on the street. There's like thousands of pieces.
And there's over 400 different tile types, and most of them are handmade. So.
And it does have, as Coulter was saying, the tile experts, the people that, the artisans actually are working on these tile pieces, building them, have ties back to the 1920s Los Angeles and the tile work that you see there. So we have a number of those instances in Buena Vista Street and the whole entry where there are ties back to the same artisans, the same buildings, and all of that here, which you're going to feel when you walk in the park. You're going to feel that sense. It really will truly be a completely different space and a completely different experience when you walk into the new Buena Vista Street.
There's one little image I just want to point out, because this guy here, that is the sculpt. I mentioned all the sculpting that we're doing for the decorative detail. That is the sculpt that's going over the doorway to the candy shop. That's the mold we're pulling the tool off of. So we've got the plate with the the beehive and the two bears trying to get their treat over the entry to.
And that's one of how many custom pieces.
The architectural ornamentation, which I'm sure Coach will talk a little bit more about, is amazing. It really is. If you're remodeling your house, wouldn't you wish people would do this much research and design on your house?
Well, getting back to the stories again, Coulter, in addition to color, tile is another thing. When we first started this project, we looked at a lot of tile and somebody, project manager, somebody asked, who's going to be responsible for that tile? And Coulter, I go, we can do it. Boy, were we wrong. So we have Terry Tile, who's fantastic, and this is quite an effort, but it's a fabulous thing.
Yeah, that was true. There's a lot of you learn a lot, and the thing about Buena Vista Street that's really convincing to us, the design team, that is going to be great, is the amount of work that it takes to get it done. It's like, we were calling it the tar pit job. It just kind of like glommed on you and sucks you in because it's so vast. And the tile is just one thing. The architectural ornamentation is another. And we pre-bought all this stuff. I've been spending a lot of time with the vendor actually, proving all of the ornamentation. A lot of it's already in the warehouse ready to go because we don't want to keep the construction fences up any longer than we have to. So this stuff's going to come out in a big hurry once we really take the street down, I guess next September or so.
Yeah. Here's the interior of Clarabelle's. You can see the tile has sort of an ice cream motif. And sometimes when we pick the tile, in this case, I told Terry, I said, make it look like you can lick it. Because we want it to be lickable. In our candy shop, we picked sort of a Necco wafer tile that has that sort of dusty color.
So you got to tell the real story about the Necco wafers. There was a real bunch of Necco wafers that we put on the conference table and go, look at this color palette, it's perfect. That's what actually happened.
You're smarter than that. No, No, but really, this is a fabulous thing. You can see some of the graphics, if I can back up for a second, you can see some of the graphics starting to appear on these images. Our marquees are being developed right now, so we don't have a lot of representations here. I would like to address the names of the shops, though some people might be curious, because we've got a Disney character references in most of them, or Disney locations that were, and street names that were relevant to Walt's early years in Los Angeles. Kingswell Photo Supply, Los Feliz Five and Dime. Those are areas. Kingswell was where one of the first Disney studios was located. Los Feliz is where Walt hung out. So, you know, we're paying homage to those early Disney years here. You may not see characters all over the place, and you won't see it really bombarded with a lot of that, but you will see the names and places that may have influenced Walt in his early years here. But we really wanted to make an allusion to that, so that you know, we're paying respect to those early years in every way that we can.
And as an example, maybe he did walk by Clarabelle's Ice Cream and brought his daughters there and thought, Clarabelle, that's kind of a fun name. Or Fiddler Pfeiffer and Practical, of course, you know, for the cafe. And I think those are nice, you know, it's kind of almost chicken and egg too, you know. But that's okay, because these names are familiar to us as well, you know, and they have a certain resonance as well. So you're really going to enjoy that too, I believe.
And we didn't really want to introduce a lot of characters into these spaces, literally, because if Walt arrived in 23, they wouldn't have been developed yet. So, you know, we wanted to really respect that as well and be genuine with our story. So.
Best looking restaurant facade I've ever seen. So again, it's just like, you know, that's just one of the tile murals. I mean, and we've got tile murals at the guest services, at the Los Feliz Five and Dime, and we went through a lot of work on those murals to get them right. And, you know, this is going back to the facade that was inspired by J.J. Newberry, but we totally redid it. But this again is the tool for every one of those panels that the arrow's pointing to. And then you can get a detail of right next to it. This is the Mortimer's Market. This is an open air fruit market where you can go in and buy drinks and water and small items. But this is all based on that 6th Avenue shopping area.
And we will have window graphics occasionally in some of the windows, so when we open, be sure to look for those, so that they'll also be part of our storytelling effort. Okay, this is fun. Our candy store, Trolley Treats, has a display window, and we're going to pay homage to an attraction that was never built, Big Rock Candy Mountain. It was designed for the site that Storybook Land occupies. It was a concept. You see the sketch there on the left. They actually built a model of it, which, as I understand it, pieces of it still exist, but at one time they were actually using real candy and frosting, and it slowly got eaten. So that attraction was never built. I think that you know, Walt decided against that. However, we're going to pay a little bit of homage to it in our candy store by building this operating model that is not a literal representation of the early design, but it's a metaphor. And the idea here is that it's 8 feet wide and 5 feet tall, and I think it's got some operating trolleys on it that'll be circling around. And I think it's every kid's dream. And our goal here is to have this kind of passive detail and display that as a small child or even as an adult, when you look at it, you dream, you won't forget it, and it'll be that kind of passive, iconic moment in the park that we all enjoy. It may not be a ride, it may not be a big attraction, but it's something that's fun to look at and something that pays a little bit of acknowledgement to our past. So we're pretty excited about this as well. It's currently under development. Lush landscaping, I think that's self-explanatory. Coulter's become a whiz at 3D modeling, so here's an example of his work. You can see we're standing next to Fiddler, Pfeiffer, and Practical, looking across toward Carthay Circle. And again, we have the largest oak tree that I've ever seen being imported into this spot. So I think we're understanding that Coulter's references to trees and sense of place. We are going to have shade, outdoor dining. The hub here is going to be a really wonderful place to just hang out and watch people and orient yourselves. I think every corner of the hub is going to be a place where, like the hub at Disneyland, you've got the opportunity to orient yourself, hang out, really get a sense of the geography and orientation of the park. And you combine that with the storytelling, the red cars going around, the water fountain trickling away. We think that this is going to be a heads and tails difference from what you experience today. Here's an early sketch of the fountain. It metaphorically is located in the same position as the fountain that we're building now, although it's not the fountain. We looked at several different designs here, and some of you may recognize the photograph on the right there. That's the Department of Water and Power fountain in Pasadena, and that we really like that from its period styling. So we started looking at some rough sketches of how we might pick this up and kind of use it as a tool between that and the Mulholland fountain in Los Feliz to create something that's distinctly LA and distinctly Southern California and really give us a focal point for our new hub. And there it is under construction. You can see it. This photograph was taken last week, so it's behind the construction fence. It's not visible to guests, but we took a couple photos for you here, and you can see how it's starting to shape up. We have a lot of art tile inside, precast concrete, and this will really be a spectacular centerpiece to our new hub.
So you're seeing it here, but you're not going to see it when we open the hub back up for traffic to be able to get through there when we close the street down, because we're going to screen it off, so it'll be part of the opening day celebration when the street's actually
But
open.
you saw it here. You saw it first.
You saw it here. Incomplete, of course. It's got a lot of brass and a lot of interesting ornamentation to it. So as it matures, imagine it circled with nice trees and beautiful street lights, and that'll be the centerpiece of the hub there.